Leonard Ellerbee sets the record straight on what's really going down with Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Also sets the record straight on some of the fans that are claiming that Shakur Stevenson does not want to fight Tank right now. That Shakur Stevenson should have sent Gervonta Davis an offer if he wanted to fight him. We're going to talk about all of that. I'm also going to get into the conversation that I had with a boxing content creator that said just these things right here about Shakur Stevenson. We're going to talk about it in this video, but before we do that, make sure that you hit my like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subbed to the channel. What's happening with it? Now, a conversation that's been going around boxing for a while now is Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? Many boxing fans feel like that is the best fight that can happen in boxing. If not the best fight, it's certainly the best fight at 135 and one of the best fights in all of boxing. I mean, fans want to see it. We've heard Tank say things about Shakur Stevenson. We've heard Shakur say things about Tank. We've heard both of them, or we've seen both of them go back and forth on Twitter at times. So, man, it's been an on and off feud between them two for a long time. But one thing I know is that Shakur, he has a lot of respect for Tank because Shakur let it be known on several occasions, Tank is the fight. You know, none of them other dudes really matter because they not on that level, but I believe that me and Tank are the top of the elite, right? At 135 to whatever division they touch. And I believe so also. But let me give a shout out to my man Knockout Boxing 86 TV, and make sure that y'all go sub to Knockout if y'all not already subbed to Knockout. So what I'm about to say right now, it ain't no beef. I'm just letting y'all know a conversation that me and Knockout had, a little back and forth that we had on this channel and a back and forth that we had in private. Knockout one day, he came up with, I don't know where he came up with this at, but he came up on one of his live streams and he said that everybody is ducking Tank Davis. That's the reason that Tank can't get none of these guys in the ring, because they all ducking Tank. They cap like they want to fight him, but when the time comes, they don't want to fight him. So that's what he said. And I said, well, that's some BS. I said, because Shakur Stevenson, he wants a Tank Davis fight. He just knows that a fight between him and Tank ain't possible right now. And then Knockout goes on to say that some of these guys like Shakur, they could send Tank an offer. Top Rank and Bob Arum, they could have sent Tank an offer if, you know, they really wanted to smoke with Tank. And I said that was BS. I told Knockout that you can't send Gervonta Davis an offer. If Gervonta Davis feels like that he wants to fight Shakur Stevenson, they got to contact Bob Arum and they got to give an offer to Shakur Stevenson, right? And I also said it was BS for him saying that Shakur don't want to fight Tank, because we've heard on several different occasions that Shakur saying that, you know, Tank is the fight that he wants most out of anybody. But Shakur kept it realistic because he said, you know, I know that fight is not going to happen right now. So why continue to call out Gervonta Davis when I know that in this situation, I'm not the A side. Gervonta Davis is the A side. Tank Davis is the pay-per-view star. I can't send him no offer. My people can't send them no offer. You got to talk to his team. They got to send me an offer. But I would take that fight in a heartbeat, but I know it's not going to happen until, you know, somewhere in the near future. It's going to happen. That's what Shakur Stevenson has been saying, you know, like, okay, I'm not going to call him out right now because I know the fight can't happen. If the fight was able to happen, he would have to send me an offer. And when I was going back and forth with Knockout about this, that was my point. I said, well, Shakur is just being realistic about the situation. You're saying that Shakur don't want to fight Tank now. You're saying that he's ducking and that Bob Arum don't want to fight and all of that. And I'm saying that it's really not up to them. It's up to Tank and his team to make that offer. Well, in a recent interview, all of this was brought up to Leonard Ellerbee. And we know that Leonard Ellerbee, he does all of the business for Gervonta Davis when it comes to these big fights. So Leonard Ellerbee recently spoke on all of this, and this is what Leonard had to say. I'm going to go ahead and play it right now.
Shakur did an interview with $1 million worth of game, and they asked him about, making a Tank fight, and he made a statement on, like, who am I to throw an offer to the biggest star in boxing? And that's what came out of Shakur's mouth. Kind of essentially saying, like, look, he has to throw me the offer.
And from the business standpoint, Shakur's right. Nobody can make Tank an offer. He's the top dog, and he's always going to be calling the shots because he's the one that's generating the revenue. I mean, so his comment is correct. It's correct.
Is that the right attitude to kind of approach, seeing that it's more like a realistic approach, not saying...
Well, one thing I've noticed is that I think that he has a better understanding of how the business goes. A lot of times that fans are anxious, and I get it. I get it where the fans get anxious, but it's got to be patient. Just got to be patient, because one thing about all these fighters fight, and they want to fight. And I'm remotely in no way speaking for Tank. I'm just saying that big fights are made when it makes sense for both sides. But the fans don't often understand what that means. For one, it's like when you got a guy like you said, Stevenson, a terrific fighter. But he also works with a promoter who's invested a lot of money. He has a terrific team, management team. So when it comes to making big fights, they kind of know. They know that you gotta. You know what I mean? It's like.
You give Shakur some credence, because I know that some people have been dragging him on the public stuff. And not saying we're getting into details of why certain fights weren't made on his end for like the Devin and Frank, but just him understanding, like, look, I have to get an offer from Tank, and compared to a lot of guys publicly, you feel like a lot of guys know the business,
he has a better understanding of it. We'll give him credit, because I've seen some of this. I don't know. I can't speak on.
Of course, not get into that.
Yeah, I can't speak on what their offers were. It's none of my business. I don't know. I haven't seen nothing. Could care less, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not anything that I'm involved in. So, but he has a general understanding. Some of the comments I've heard recently, and he's kind of saying the right things. Meaning, I'm saying from the standpoint of that he can't make it. Don't work like that. And his promoter knows that too.
So Leonard Ellerbee, that do all the business for Gervonta Tank Davis, just told you exactly what I've been saying. It does not work like that. Now, a lot of people might be questioning Leonard Ellerbee when he says that these fights like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney versus Tank, they're not ready yet, because he went on to say those things also. And your question will be, well, how are you saying that those fights are not ready, but then you put him in the ring with guys like Rolly Romero and Pitbull Cruz? Well, I continue to tell people, this is how they do business, right? Gervonta Davis, he makes a whole lot of money. You put him in a ring with somebody like a Pitbull Cruz, say. You don't have to pay those fighters, right? Guys like Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz's highest payday besides Gervonta Davis, $150,000, right? When he fought Gervonta Davis, he made a guaranteed of $300,000, and when all the pay-per-views came in, he made like $750,000, right? That's chump change to them. How much do you think that Gervonta Davis brought in? You see what I'm saying? That way, he don't really got to split no bag, because those guys are not used to making any money. When he fought Rolando Romero, after all the pay-per-views that they sold with him and Rolly only made $1.5 million. After all the pay-per-view numbers came in, Rolly only made $1.5 million. Y'all can look this stuff up. It's public records. So they don't have to pay those guys like that, because in boxing terms, they're already poor. So them getting $300,000, that's a lot of money to them. Now, if you fight a Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, they not about to take $1.5 million to fight a Tank Davis. They're not about to take that. Shakur Stevenson, he made a guaranteed $3 million his last fight against a nobody. I'll put it right up on the screen so y'all can see it. So you think he gonna take a $750K or $1.5 million? No. So when you hear Leonard Ellerbee saying, well, you know, those fights are not ready yet and Tank ain't taking no pay cut for nobody, when Tank fight one of those guys, they're also gonna get paid. Of course, they're not gonna get paid as much as Gervonta Davis, but they gonna want more than 1.5 million. And so Leonard Ellerbee's method is to continue putting Gervonta Davis in against these Mexican fighters that they know he's gonna run through. You don't really gotta pay him. And then Tank get all the bag. You know what I'm saying? Tank, along with them, the promoters, they get all the bag because $750,000 to them is like $10 million to a fighter like Shakur Stevenson. You feel what I'm saying? They also don't believe that Tank Davis getting in the ring with another black fighter like a Shakur or Devin Haney, it'll sell, which I think is BS. You know what I'm saying? I think it's BS. But the whole bottom line is they don't want to have to pay those guys what they're gonna ask for. If Shakur asks for $5 million, they don't want to pay him $5 million. If Devin Haney asks for $8 million because they know that the fighter's gonna do big numbers, they don't want to pay them that. That's why Leonard Ellerbee continues to say, yeah, those fights will happen down the line in the future. But what he's really saying is, we'll make those fights when a fighter like Shakur Stevenson can go on pay-per-view and sell big mega numbers and bring a whole lot to the table. That way it's a big huge pot like a Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, and that way Tank get paid like he did against Ryan Garcia or even more. Because when you talk about a Shakur Stevenson, he is a very dangerous fight, right? But right now he is very high risk and low reward. So if we can continue fighting fighters like Rolly and get paid pretty much the same amount that we gonna get paid against a Shakur Stevenson, why take that chance? Other than that, we're not making it happen. You know what I'm saying? Now, do I like it? Hell no, because I want to see the fights just like everybody else. But when I explain this, everybody don't understand the business. So, you know, me and Knockout had this conversation, and Leonard Ellerbee, he just set the record straight. Like I said, this ain't no beef between me and Knockout. It's just, I'm letting y'all know a back and forth that we had. I know how the business works. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything. I'm not in the back room cutting deals, but I know how they get down. But anyway, y'all make sure that y'all comment, drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think about all this. Make sure that you hit my like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subbed. Quit hating and watching the videos, you know what I'm saying? Hit the like button. And y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. And I'm gone.